Yeah, I was saying it's such an honor to be here today to introduce this webinar to you guys about basically two things, which is hacking Topcoder, how I found a way to make a life out of it, and how other members have also made a way out of, made a life out of the Topcoder lifestyle, for some way to say, and also to get to know what it is. I mean, what is Topcoder? Because this is one of the questions that I really get a lot. What are you doing there? What is it about? I mean, how can I profit from it? People must have different definitions, but one of the most difficult to answer is, what do we do in Topcoder for real? So why we're here today is basically because maybe you're a new person or you're a regular competitor and you want to learn how to sustain a long-term career in Topcoder, also knowing what it means, living in a way, kind of remote work or home office, however you want to name it, freelancing. How can you endure for so long in such a lifestyle, right? Because, in order to get there, I assembled what I call the 5 principles of growth, which will help you to go through. These are actually very broad, that apply for data scientists, developers, designers, actually for life itself. But these principles apply to for you to have a way of to help you to get there without losing your mind for some reason. For saying it simple, right? So your host. This is kind of a difficult situation for me, to be honest, I have to say, because one of the things I'm not good at is at defining things, at defining what I do in life, as you can tell. But yeah, I have been working with Topcoder for over 13 years, I think, in many phases. I first started as a designer, algorithm, then also as a developer. I have done copilot work, project management. But if there's something I can tell you about what I do in Topcoder, it would be, I'm a kind of guy of the community. I'm a person of people, and that's one of the things that led me to create this Facebook group, a sub-community, which is called Topcoder Nation, which is kind of a manifestation of the bonding of the people in Topcoder, how we interact with each other, how we create stories together, how we support each other. And also something you have to know is if you know me, you know that I love handstands. I do them everywhere. There was one time I did it, a handstand walk during a presentation of a Topcoder open events. That's something somewhere online. If you want to laugh when I fall, yeah, you go there. And talking about that, something that I'm very good at is actually start falling and I'm failing. So this is why the principles we're going to learn, they might be useful to you. Something else you have to know is I love butter chicken. To all my Indian friends, thanks to the lords of the universe for having created such a delicious plate. Because for real, that's one of the best things you could ever have in your life, especially if you have it next to your garlic naan. That doesn't have any comparison. Well, if you want to find me somewhere online, that would be, you can go to Slack if you're a Topcoder, or if you're off Slack or off the community. You can go find me on Instagram as Maestro. I post pictures about my travels and normally things I do with Topcoder when I'm traveling the world. Yeah, something I have to say here, very important. This is the first webinar in Topcoder that has a sponsor. And the proud sponsor is the Butter Chicken Squad, which is a fake institution, but very delicious, where we Topcoder members gather every time we travel together, and we have this butter chicken, or Indian food mostly. And he's actually our CEO. He cannot be here today, but I want to take a little bit of moment to say hi to Harshit. He's a very known person in the community, and we see him a lot around. All right, so let's remind a little bit here. What can we expect of this webinar, right? Something that we have to know. So we prepared an agenda for you today. First, we're going to learn how you can profit Topcoder. I mean, what is it about, and what opportunities are there for you? There's going to be a story, because I always tell stories. I'm going to share also the principles of growth, and I'm going to show you a little bit of graphics that we created with a graphic design challenge to celebrate the first anniversary of Topcoder Nation. We're gonna talk about that later. Something you have to know is that on each segment of this webinar, I'm gonna make a pause for you to ask questions. And if you can see in the, there should be down there like a little chat panel and a questions panel. If you ask your questions in there, in the questions panels, questions and answers, I'm gonna make sure to go through them after each segment. You will see it shouldn't be that difficult to follow. So the first questions come from me. And this is to test if I'm doing, actually it's a test questions for you, but it's a test for me. I wanna see if I'm doing a good work so far, right? So I wanna challenge you to tell me what are going to learn today. If you ask correctly, it means that, oh my God, my maestro is doing something right, finally. He's sending a message clearly to people. So is it a butter chicken recipe? Are we gonna cook butter chicken, or we're gonna learn how to sustain a long-term career in Topcoder? Oh, how can I see that? Wait. Oh wait, I'm trying to see your replies. Okay, here. Chat. In a second. Okay. Here it is. Nish, right, you got it right, Nish. We're gonna, oh no, Nish, I'm so sorry to let you know that. Well, this is for me. I'm not doing my work well. We're not doing butter chicken today. I'm so sorry. Maybe some other time. All right. So I'm gonna follow because you know that we gotta keep things serious here. So first question is this the right place for you? I mean, beyond the webinar, is Topcoder the right place for you? So I designed this content, this presentation, for people who is just new, barely new. They barely know the platform. They're just experimenting to see how it works. How can I use it for me? I'm a designer, I'm a web developer, I'm a front-end developer, back-end developer, or no, I'm a data scientist. I work for a company, or I'm anyway, I'm just new and I want to know how it is. This is one of the persons I design this content for. And the second one is also for the regular competitors who are already here and they compete every day, or just, let's just say part-time, or well, they need a little bit of a push to improve the performance. Because let's say you're in the platform where you're not getting there yet to win as many challenges as you would like to, or you want some other kind of opportunities, or you don't know what type of opportunities are there for you. Also, this is designed for story lovers because there will be stories. I mean, if you talk to me, you cannot expect to talk to me without stories, right? All right. So back to the opportunities. As I was saying, there's people who works full-time in Topcoder. There's people who works part-time in Topcoder. There's people who comes here just to have an occasional gig, just to make a little bit of extra cash. And who knows what else it could lead to, because I have heard so many stories of people who comes here just for the money, as they say, and they end up being full-time workers or part of the community. And there's something like I always tell to myself, I think I wrote about this a long time ago. It's about Aladdin. I think you're mostly familiar with Aladdin, the cartoon of Disney. And this is something I always tend to tell to people about Topcoder. I compare it to Disneyland in this kind of sense. That it's like a Disneyland of opportunities. And if Aladdin wanted to show Jasmine a whole new world, he would have brought her to Topcoder if he was a developer or the designer, because it's definitely a place where there's a ton of opportunities. And if I can qualify them, I see three sectors per se where we have opportunities in Topcoder. Number one, and it's the most common one, which is where the most people can find us, which is competitions. We call them challenges. We challenge you, designer, developer, data scientist, to solve problems from real clients, from the real world. How do we do this? Well, we meet with the clients, we gather the requirements of their projects, and we somehow create a structure to deliver segments of the production of any service that we are developing. Let's say we want to build an application that sells shoes. Then we take this application, we modulate it, we create segments. When we need prototype, we need graphic design, we need maybe machine learning algorithm to provide some kind of suggestions system. And we segment this in several competition challenges. And then comes you read the specifications. At this one right here that you can see in the screen, and then you read them, and then you compete against many people to see who has the best solution. And then the clients, normally the client decides which is the best solution and work with it. And then people receive prizes. That goes from many different kind of varieties. I invite you to go to the website and check the challenges that we have right there right now and see how they work. There's opportunities for everyone in there. And this is how normally everyone starts. This is how it started. The second one is a brand new one, and this one is very cool because it's a kind of a different approach to access the talent. And this kind of opportunities is kind of similar when you work one-on-one with a client. Thing is that you belong to a pool of workers certified that can get job opportunities directly from clients. We assemble teams, and then we make it work together. And then we have a task page dedicated to show you the opportunities that are available right now. There are, last time I checked, there were like 8 or 9. You just have to go there and check out if there's something that suits your skills and apply for it. Even if you're new to Topcoder or you are an experimented designer or developer. Another one is called Copilot, which can be called like a project technical lead. We take responsibility normally of the communications with the clients and the project manager to gather the requirements, translate them into a language that technicians can understand. Let's say a developer can understand it, or a designer can understand what the client wants based on our experience with the community and also with project management. And then we deliver what it would be the requirements and specifications for people to complete. And this is normally how it goes. This is like the overall picture of what a Copilot does. So don't let you fool when you see this script right here that says, how Copilot made $5,000 while traveling for 2 months, because the Copilot, traveling is not the only thing that we do, for real, I swear. I know that if you see normally Topcoder Nation group, I want to talk more about it later, but you might be confused with what we do. Like, are these people travel or these people work? What is it with you guys? Okay, something we have to face. Something that not many people dares to put a face on, which are the myths or the risks, what they call of the remote work or the freelance kind of lifestyle, right? And it's true. I mean, if you ask me personally, even before knowing that I was doing remote work, I kind of belong to this kind of group. I didn't even know that I was taking risk. I mean, I just did it because it was just my personal experience, right? I just did it because it felt right. But it's true that there are things that we cannot control. That there are things that are in the how we call it, in the 9 to 5 kind of office job are used to be done. These things are hard to change, right? Hard to evolve. And normally, when you think of changing or transitioning to this type of lifestyle, like I decide my work schedule. I work with any client I want. I mean, I take responsibility of my payments or my paycheck. This is when it can get scary, right? So normally, some of the strongest myths or risks that I see people being worried about is, I mean, how can people endure competition for so long? Because if we talk about competitions, of course, it could be how you call that, like, you could feel tired somehow, like you're competing against so many people that they're so talented, or maybe you don't win so often. I mean, this is a true risk, but there are ways to counter that back. I mean, is there enough work for me? I mean, will I produce enough money to pay my bills every 15, every 30 of the month? Right? And will it be lonely over there? And this is something that's kind of concerning, especially the times we're living right now. As we can see, I'm sure most of us are most likely confined or under quarantine. And we had to be forced to be lonely. And you know, maybe you know how it feels not to be able to go outside, not to be able to go and hug other people. I mean, I've been doing this for more than 13 years, like not being lonely. I mean, working as a remote worker, and I found the ways to counter this back, to have a way to balance all these myths in such a way that at least it works for me. And this is what I'm trying to teach you today with the principles. So if you said butter chicken in the previous questions I made, it's the principles that we learned today. I want to remind you that, please, please. So yeah, if you take wise advice from people who has been here in this in Topcoder or any workforce that belongs to the gig work, this guy here, he's called his birth of creator. He's Sergey. He's a good friend of mine. He was asked once during a live session, like if he had enough work, and he said, "Well, if you want to be busy 24/7, Topcoder can give you that," and that's true. I mean, there are a lot of challenges normally running if you're a competitor, where you can go practice something new, learn, and there's also the opportunity to earn money while learning. So I think the paycheck solution could be around this area. I mean, there's always work for you. And about this is another good one that I like to quote, and it's Joki. Joki is an all-time all-member designer from the community. He's such a nice guy. Everyone loves him. And something he said in an interview I did around him was that, why did you join Topcoder, right? This is one of the questions I ask the people the most. And he said that normally it was because of the money. But then he found out that he had an extension of his family in Topcoder after learning. I mean, I think, and I'm quite sure that what he refers is to the connection it creates with people. And this is something I haven't seen in another remote work platform. And I have tried many of them, and I haven't got to see this belongingness that Topcoder can get to create in people in such a way that it can make Topcoder like an extended family of yours. Because people is normally friendly. They like to share stories. They like to normally help you grow at the same time as they're competing against you. It's a weird phenomenon that I have no sense to explain psychologically why it happens, but it happens. So Yoki said it, you have to believe it. He's actually the champion of design this month, kind of design bracket, so we have to believe it. So I'm gonna make this a little bit personal, and I'm gonna share with you what are my top 3 benefits that I see of the way I live, right? And by the way I live, I mean my remote work lifestyle. And this, I mean, it's not that I want like promote Topcoder here. Topcoder makes an important, a huge deal part of my life, right? It's how I use Topcoder to make my lifestyle. So the top 3 benefits that would be, this is like, if anyone who knows me knows that geography and schedule freedom for me is something that I treasure the most, because knowing that I have the time and the ability and the capability of deciding who I want to work with, when I want to work, and to be wherever I want to be, I mean, in the world, that's something precious. I mean, it has no price to me. Something else is that I get the chance to meet extraordinary people. I remember the first time I traveled outside of my country. Actually, it was the first time I traveled in an airplane. I went to Las Vegas to a competition. I was a finalist of the TCO 08, like 2008. Oh, damn, I'm so old. And I had to be there. I didn't speak English too much. I was there. I think I was shy a little bit, like I didn't know who to speak to. But then I started to mingle like with people who were like-minded, like me, like were passionate about math, passionate about design, about solving problems in general. And I started finding that this passion created connections that I never imagined possible. And these people they are so out of this world. I mean, I remember I met a guy who was 20 years old. I was 22, I think. He was 20 years old. He was already, he was a mathematician. He had a PhD. He has one. He didn't lose it. He has a PhD. And he was a finalist for algorithms. And he was 20 years old. For me, it was like mind blowing to know that someone this young could be possibly programming much better than me. Like I studied programming, but it wasn't as good as him to go to a final for algorithms. And he was a mathematician, but we know that they require that. But to me, that's just amazing to be able to meet these people. And another one is that I had the chance to increase the work I can showcase in my portfolio, especially when you see clients with, let's say, big names or somehow. I never also imagined that I could ever get to work with NASA, with Microsoft, with Harvard, Macy's, Comcast, and many, many other companies to run projects for them. It's been such an amazing experience. So, cool. We got to the end of our first segment. If there are any questions, you should tell them now, or I will continue. I will move on to the next one. Okay, first let me see how I do this. Okay, questions? Okay, cool. What do you think if you don't have any questions? I do have questions. I always have questions, and I have one for you. What do you get when you combine the following elements? Curiosity, passion, and discomfort. A, you get a toilet paper compulsive overstock. We have seen real cases, I have to say. And B, the rise of a hacker. Oh, this sounds like a movie, right? I'm quite sure all of you reply B at this moment. But yeah, it's a rise of a hacker. It's like a story, and this is the part where I have to tell story, right? And this story, this screenshot may look familiar to you. I shared it with you before, but it's basically how it's the way I live my life, and how I design it to be able to afford leisure during work, and how I use Topcoder to do this kind of activities while I travel the world, and also how Topcoder allows me to make connections with people, with friendly people. And this particular travel here, in this particular travel, I earned $5,000 while traveling for 2 months. And also, it was a travel that I did in Asia with 2 other Topcoder members, which are Vicky and Ravi. You will see them later. We were traveling these places. We went to India. In India, we visited Chandigarh, Jaipur. We went to the TCO regional in there. We went to the Himalayas, to Philippines. We met other Topcoder members that are living in Philippines and Indonesia, and had so much fun with them. And all of this during 2 months, and all of this at the same time while we were working. How can we do this? I mean, it's kind of a challenge, right? So if I bring a little bit of boring numbers to you right now, numbers don't really have a little bit boring, but this is like the way I found to how I can be blunt about what it means. I mean, how this hack works. How is it that I hack something? If I hack something, it means that I have to either break it or improve it somehow, right? Like get through the loopholes of something and make things work in a better way for me. At least this is what I did. So during these travels, I worked in 11 projects. I worked for 24 hours only, and I made this amount of money in 71 days of travel. So if we do the maths here, it means that I most likely average, I was making $170 per hour, right? So if you want to make it even more clear, we have 71 days. So it means that in these 31 hours of work, you can summary it as 4 days average of a work in a 9 to 5 schedule. Let's say you go to work from 9 to 5 p.m. it will take me only 4 days to make this amount of money. Well, of course, I didn't take these 4 days. This is just a comparison to see how we can pack this in 4 days. 4 days, $5,000. 4 days, $5,000. Right? So how the real way it happened was that I worked, let's say, 20 minutes one day. Then the next week I worked 30 minutes. Then the other week I worked 1 hour. And then this whole compound effect created the 31 hours of work. But in order to do this, I really had to dig deep into Topcoder. I really see where I could hack it with the activities that I did, right? So what was my secret? So my secret, I want to share with you something that is very, very meaningful, like private to me and very special, which is my time awareness kind of philosophy of life, I would say. And this is actually one of the principles that I want to share with you. It's in the principle segment that we want to discuss. It's the time awareness. So it's a consciousness of the time that you have on this planet, the time, the gift that you're given, and how you decide to use it, right? And the second secret is basically the decision that I have freedom. I want to profit from this freedom. So what am I doing with my time? So what I did was what is called a scrutiny process, where I took overall in my life, right? But if I take this to Topcoder, I made a scrutiny of all over the activities that I normally perform in projects. Let's say, how much time do I invest in meeting? How much time do I invest in analyzing the requirements? How much time do I invest in replying in the forums? How much time do I invest even replying messages or making presentations or everything? I logged everything. People who knows me knows that I am a time maniac. I log everything, and when I say everything, it even means the times when I go to the bathroom. I don't want to reveal more information because it's not very healthy. But yeah, I'm a time maniac. So I did this with Topcoder in the projects, and what I came with was that I was investing, and this was already a highly optimized way of working for me. I normally invested around 7 hours per project for Copilot design. This is just a design. This is an example for design, right? There's a whole lot of universal things here going on. But normally I invested 6-7 hours, and this is already highly optimized. And I'm not saying I'm better than others, but there's other people who tell me that it takes in like 10 hours, some people say like 15 hours, it depends. So this was already optimized time for me, but I really wanted to go and dig deeper. How can I make this better? Because I really want time. I mean, this is something that I cannot buy it. So the only way I can get time is by transforming things I do into time slots for me, right, to use it. So well, I did this whole scrutiny process. I started to study. I studied everything, logged all the time that it took me to make the activities. And I managed to detect 2 activities that took time. And these activities had something in common, that they could be replaced by either someone or by they could be outsourced somehow, right? That it means that it wasn't a super intense, high brainy task. It could be done like, let's say, if I pay $10 to someone, they can do it or something. But they could be outsourced. And this task it's a process in design where we create Marvel Labs. Marvel Labs is a space where we share design. It's part of the delivery process where we share design screens of the people who compete. And there's also the review phase where we create documents and we gather submissions. And these are kind of tasks that they're not really brainy tasks. They're just time consuming. So my question was, how can I, there's evidence that if I remove this, there will be some benefit, right, per project. So how can I do this? So the hack was for me to invest my time in creating tools to remove this. So I coded 2 bots, 2 applications that actually they replace me. Instead of me doing the Marvel Labs invitations and the Marvel Labs management, there's the application who does. I mean, I don't even see it. The review documents, instead of me go gather files and prepare, there's an application that creates the documents for me and gather everything for me, and I don't even see it. It's like it's gone. For me, that's no longer part of my duties. So what it did was that it reduced significantly the amount of hours that I invested for projects, right? So I have 50% average off from that, from the time it took me to work in that project, which can be seen perceived as simple or something small. But when you see, normally, if I can give you personal advice, when you see 50% off something, but instead of price, it's time, you take it. It's something that you shouldn't take it for granted, because you say, okay, I used to work 7 hours, now I work 3.5 hours in one project. Okay, you can see it like this. You can say, okay, it's not like a bit of an improvement, right? But when you multiply this, the amount of projects that you work for, so in 10 projects, instead of working 70 hours, you're working 35 hours. Half of the work is 35. You know how much 35 hours is? It's 1 day, a month and a half. And what can you do in 1 day? Besides, you choose, but what can you do in 1 hour with your time? You can learn something new. You can read a book. I don't know. You can educate yourself on something that you want to learn. You can go out with your family. You can go take your little niece to the park. Anything, you name it. But this is time that you're earning for you. You use it in something else, like another projects, side hustles, or whatever it is that you're working on. So we arrived to the end of this important segment, which was the hack. And if you guys have any questions, let me check. The thing is that I'm, to be honest, I'm not quite familiar with this interface. I'm a technology guy, but I'm really bad at controlling this. Okay. Okay, I'm so sorry, I really can't see your questions right now. When Jessie comes back, she will help you with the questions. Okay. But I do have one question for you. Like, are you guys ready? Now that you've seen, are you guys ready to profit from freedom? Okay, yeah. Let's get this over with. Say yes just to get this over with, because it's been too long. Oh well, only if there's butter chicken. So our next session is something I want to tell you is that, of course, what I was doing in the hack story is that I was implicitly, I was applying the, well, something that I told you that we were going to learn here today was how to sustain a long-term career, right? So what I was doing, I was applying the principles of growth intrinsically. If I don't know if you've noticed, but these are our 5 principles of growth that will help us to sustain a long-term career in Topcoder. And then you see how you do it. But these are very broad. They apply for developers, designers, and data scientists, in my opinion. And these are pieces of valuable advices and practices and tips that I have gathered during my 13 years of experience, personal experiences from my friends and Topcoder in other Git platforms. And I tried to consolidate them into a single pack for you. So this is my gift for you today. And the gift from the community, because it's not just me, it's just knowledge that I have gathered and put here in a way of in the form of a deck in this webinar. And yeah, our first principle is the value, right? This is one of my favorite authors. He has a book called The Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde. Highly suggested, by the way, that this quote express here what I was trying to convey in my previous slides. Right? It's about learning the value of what you want from life. Learning to differentiate price as money or as wealth or capital, however you want to name it, of the value of what you really want. So when we have to measure this, it's really, really, really tough, because we live we're civilized humans. We live in a society where price is something that is highly deep, wired in our culture, that when we say something, about anything, with the first thing, one of the first things we think is price. Let's say if I told you I want to go to Thailand next month, first thing that would come to my mind would be, oh, how much is it? Instead of how good is this for me, right? There's a whole difference when you approach this price concept, the money concept, into your life. It's like, instead of what gives me value, instead of how much is it. And this, I want to extrapolate this to the path of a journey in the remote work lifestyle, in the way that what is it really important when I am taking this leap, when I'm taking this jump to the lifestyle of remote work. Right? So what is it valuable English? What is it valuable for me as a person? Let's say I want to join Topcoder, or any other one. Let's say I want to join Topcoder. Okay, why do I want to do this? I mean, is it for the price, or is it because I want to learn? Or even if it is for the price, you must be aware that you have to learn. There's a process of learning, and you have to value it more than money. Otherwise, the spirit weakens, and I'm afraid that it might not last long. This adventure, that it could be the best for your life, but you don't know it because maybe we're focusing on all the things that we shouldn't pay too much attention on. So normally when you go, let's say you're gonna take the leap, I'm employed or I'm unemployed or I'm working on something and I wanna try it at this new platform. So I'm a freelancer now and I wanna succeed. And this is what we see as a plan, right? Oh, we expect, oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be nice. I'm just gonna join. I'm gonna grab $1,000 in my first challenge, and that's it. Wrap it up. I'm gonna eat some ice cream. But then comes something called life, reality, and it hits you in the face with this: what's going on here? Like, what mess did I get into? Me, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect that, and this is normally the part where we get a little bit discouraged because we have a thought. Let's say we want money, but we don't add value to the process of learning. And we don't understand normally that there is a process of learning. And there are tips for this, and I call them endurance for learning. And is that something that you have to know is that all masters in life, it's called made by masters. I mean, people who have achieved a level of knowledge or achievement that is greater than I ever thought. Let's say Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, to name a few, Charles Darwin, you name them. These were people who invested a lot of time, and they never considered themselves like, I'm done yet. They always considered themselves as students. This is a reason why, I mean, money was not what they were looking for. What they were looking for more was something purposeful, like that was a natural force within that led them to go wherever they want to go. Despite all the obstacles and the hindrances that they could be, they could tolerate them because they knew that they were not chasing money. And this is what I want to try to make clear today with this talk. And well, something that me personally, I used to do when I was starting with Topcoder is that every time I lost a challenge, and there were so many, I lost so many, I said, well, today I know more than yesterday. Okay, today, I mean, yesterday I knew a little bit about, let's say, buttons. Today I learned how to make buttons and icons. I completed, I lost, but now I know more than yesterday. And this is something that helped me get through and endure the process of learning, because there's a process of learning. And also that I appreciated was the fact that I was working with real clients and I was also learning. Who can get I mean, there are just, I think I could come with my extremities. People who can learn by doing, getting paid, and doing real work. This is something that you have to keep in mind when you're joining a big platform like Topcoder or any other. Yeah, and with the whys, you know, I think you remember I told you that there are people that I know in Topcoder. I mean, I have run many interviews with so many people, and I take their wisdom, and this is what I'm trying to put here, as I told you in this webinar. Back in 2019, we had a Innovation Summit. It was a conference. There were talk about customers, partners. We had talks, and it was amazing. And we had 4 members of the community who went on stage, and they talked about the lifestyle of Topcoder, much better than me, I'm quite sure. If you want a real good lesson about living the lifestyle of Topcoder, you go see those. Do not watch me. I'm really bad at this. And they were having a conversation in there, and they were asked about this, right? Like, how do you keep up? How do you stay on top in such a wild environment of competition? And this guy you see here with the mic, he's Thomas. It's a cool guy, developer. He also has some webinars, so you should go check those. And yeah, so he was asked, I mean, with so much technology around, how do you keep up? This is what I say about valuing learning over money. He says he spends 60% of his time, 60%, learning new technologies, watching YouTube videos about new technologies, doing online courses, and this is what he does. And so you can imagine how important it is to study, to learn, to keep up. So it's quite important. And then we have here our friend Bird of Trader, Sergey. He was also asked the same thing. And he said, well, luckily we have internet in these days. You can learn anything. And everyone laughed after he said this. I mean, it was hilarious. There's a deep, meaningful message within these lines. They're very wise. Because he said it because we're used to this. Nowadays, we take it for granted, internet, right? It's something like we're born, actually, this generation is born, they have internet, they have devices, and it's something normal for them. But you can imagine if you compare how was life, let's say, let's say 100 years back ago. If you wanted to learn something, you had to go and go to the library and get knowledge from there and walk and get there. Now it's easy with internet. If you go even back further, let's say 200 years ago, you couldn't even choose what you wanted to study. I mean, you were very lucky if you could have the freedom to choose. Let's say I want to study mechanics. I can study mechanics because I don't love something. I read a book. Since the knowledge tradition didn't used to work this way. Normally, you have to, let's say you were born son of a baker. You want to study bakery, and when you grow up, you want to be a baker, and that's it. You were born son of a dentist. You were going to study how to fix my teeth, and then this is what I want to do. You don't have this freedom to choose what you want to learn, and it's very meaningful and very deep. That's such a thin line, but it's very wise what Sergey said. I don't know if he meant that, but me, I made it. I like it. Okay, so our second principle today is failure. How to embrace failure. Because failure is something that we perceive it as something bad normally. And I try to see it, I mean, the mindset that I try to put to failure is to see it as the mother of the game. It's something that needs to happen in order so you can learn something. But I notice it's just words. And I say them, and I have to admit, sorry, I know that's like, okay, it's easy to say that, but go there, invest your time, compete. Let's say invest 24 hours of your precious time, compete. And then you got just third place, or you got nothing. It's like no placement. Let me be clear, no placement. You got nothing, right? So my reaction, for sure, I sure it will be different. I'm gonna let you take a look. This guy here, that's me. That's me. Oh, why is this happening to me? Like, why did it win? Okay. But this is my first reaction, and I swear it happens. I swear it happens, even though I seem so wise and this kind of, I don't know, Buddhist thing, right? No offense, sorry. And even though I try to express calmness, this can happen. And what I mean is that this can happen. These reactions that can happen. We're humans. We are people. We're humans. We are wired up with emotions that we cannot restrain sometimes. But we also are gifted with something human evolution gave us after many years of thousands of years of evolution, which was reasoning. And with reasoning, we can endure the failure. So I have this failure mindset tricks. This is I can share with you based on my experience, wisdom from other people in the community. And the first one is one that is more important. It's like, okay, you can reason, right? say this reasoning is the reasoning is the reason why you can tell, you can justify an argument things with the voice, in some manner. So reason is also the reason why you can endure failure in a way. So because first of all, that loss is an illusion, right? When let's say you lost a challenge or you got really close, you think your emotions feel that they lost something, but was it really yours? Ask this yourself, was it really yours? Did it belong to you? And let's say you were participating in a coding challenge. You were participating, I don't know, you were developing a React component, and then you say, oh, you got third place, you got no money. And then you say, oh, it's like, it feels bad, I lost. But what did you lose? Was it yours? I mean, when you sign up, you said, okay, I want to compete. There was a contract that said that it was yours. No, right? So what I mean is, this is an illusion. This is why normally you kind of suffer inside, because you thought it was yours. So the way the approach I would take to this would be to think that, first of all, I'm learning. And second of all, there's something I can gain out of this. I mean, I lost time, that's true. But I gained experience with real clients. And I got to work and I got to compete against people who are so talented that are all over the world. Like people from Japan, from Russia, from Canada, from the United States, from South America, from India, from France, you name the country, they're people so talented. And you got to compete one-on-one with them and you got so close. That means something, that's this gaining there. And this is the principle that I want to try to make you grasp out of these lousy lines I'm spinning right here. And yeah, and to wrap up the failure mindset, I would like to be aware of the curve. Like, what is this curve? Like, I'm driving a car here or something like that. I was supposed to come to a webinar, not to a driving lesson. So the curve, what is the curve? When you're learning, you normally expect this to be linear. Let's say today I learned a little bit about I don't know Fibonacci numbers, how to optimize the memorization of Fibonacci numbers, and then you think that the next day you have results, you have the outcome. But normally it doesn't work like this in the freelance in the learning experience overall, because there's something called the compound effect, that it takes time, and then the outcomes, they come abruptly at the end of the curve. Let's say it's not linear. It's not that you want to learn something now and then tomorrow you want to get prize already. It's that the compound effect. You have to keep studying, keep gathering information, keep getting better, getting better at, let's say you're a designer, you get better at icons, getting better at typography, getting better at how to study hierarchy, how to apply design principles, how to study psychology that affect the decisions that designers, people are humans, and they are the ones who are operating your solutions. So what can you learn in order to make all this better? And then there's a compound effect that gathers all of this, and it takes time, but then you see the curve and it explodes up. And I've seen cases of people, let's say, like, if I can say a few names here, Stark is a quite example of this. Kanlin, Ravi Jun. Ravi Jun is my travel partner. I think I talked to you a little bit about it. He told me that he spent once 8 months studying. I mean, he was practicing, studying. He lasted 8 months until he could have his first win. But 8 months, right? It's a lot. But after he got his first win, 8 months, he didn't stop like winning placements. And now you can see him, he's been in Topcoder Opens more times than anyone could count, like 5 times finalist, I think, 4-time finalist. And also Kanling, he told me that it took to him 4 months to win his first competition. Stark, it took him 2 months. And there's people like this. It takes them time to gather, to get familiar with the platform, how it works, then to get better at the craft, how to improve their craft, and then it explodes. They start winning. That's how it works. Okay. Well, so enough for the failure, because I know it sounds scary, but it's just awareness. And the only thing that I want to see that I want to put in your brain right now is about awareness that you can fail, but it's not the end of the world. For instance, if you take me this morning, I don't know if this thing is still live, by the way, but this morning while I was getting ready to start a webinar, the end of the world, this is what I had in my mind. It's like, I was so worried about, because I'm in a situation right now where I don't have good internet connection. So I was thinking, while I was taking my shower, what if the internet breaks in the middle of the thing? Or what if the internet, I'm speaking and my voice is not clear? Or what if I forget, I don't know, there's something, and it's like, dude, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You just go, show up, and it's not the end of the world if something goes wrong. It's like, it's life. It's just how it is. So this was the way, I mean, the mindset or the approach that I would like to share with you guys about failure. I mean, anything can happen, so you just have to deal with it. Okay, so our next principle was the mentorship. This one is very important, very, very important. So for this one, oh, so cute, right? Oh yeah, I see some questions. Oh, I got it. Wait, well, I have to come back, sorry. All right, there's a little story I want to tell here. It's about me. This, of course, this blonde little girl, adorable. She's too cute to be me. That's quite obvious. And yeah, it's a story. I remember when I was a kid. My cousin, I used to have a cousin who lived in the house with us, and he had a bike. I was 7 or 8 years old. He had a bike. His bike was quite big for me at my age, and I saw him riding the bike, and I wanted to ride the bike because it looked cool. Who doesn't want to ride a bike, right? And then I remember that I was in the storage room, and I took his bike, and then I was trying to ride it. It was so big for me, I couldn't reach the pedals. But I just kept trying and falling and trying. I'm falling. That's why I said I was an expert at falling. Because I'm so stubborn. I fall and I get up and I go back again. And my father watched me, and he told me, "Son, that's not for you." And I kept going, and falling. Second day, same thing. "Son, that bike is not for you." And then I kept going, and I'm falling. I was all scratched all over the place. At the third day, he came back. He came home with a what they call, with a helper wheel, something like that, with a little this thing that is, on the side of the wheels. Yeah, the helpers. And then it was like an aha moment. Like, oh, now I can drive. Now I cannot fall. And it's like balance. Like, oh, I can drive. So it was, there was something to learn in there. And the lesson here, it could be, okay, I needed the helper, the wheels, but no, that's not the lesson. That's not the lesson for me. The lesson for me was stubborn. You kid, you have to listen. Because listen, that's the thing that my father told me the most. It's like to learning. It's one of the senses that we use to learn, the auditive sense. And there are actually, and this is what I mean with the mentorship here, is that listen, you have to learn. And the mentor is going to help you. And mentorship is, as you guys must know, is the ancientest form of knowledge tradition. I'm quite sure our ancestors watched and listened a lot to people when they wanted to replicate tools. They watched their masters, how they recreated the tools. They say, I want to create an arrow. I want to become an arrow expert, an arrow craftsman. And then I saw how my master would create the arrow, and I would practice, and I watch him, and I take advice from him or her, and until I become like her, or much better than her. Why is this important? So normally when we go back again, we are freelancers, we wanna get there, we want to succeed, right? And we want to endure. During this path, we want to endure. So we have this path, this crazy path, like not planning, nothing, like just going there. I want to be successful, and boom, this is the reality. And this is where we're going solo. We're going alone. But what happens is when you find your mentor and you're aware of the value of a mentor in your life, what happens is the following. Is that the curve, okay, there's things that are going to be unexpected, but it reduces the amount of friction and sets boundaries to your success. This is what I mean is that you're saving something, and what you're saving there is time. Because let's say if you go alone, you will have to, I don't know, let's say okay, I'm a designer. I want to get better at typography. But then you start studying things that are not in line with that. So a mentor will tell you where to go, what do you need to practice in order to be the best or better at certain elements that you need. And the mentor already went through all the things that you are suffering of. She knows already what it is to be in your shoes. So this is what a mentor is going to do to you, is that they're going to reduce the amount of time and the friction in your process to get better. So you want more free time, wouldn't it be better to have more time to do other stuff? This is not why we're here. So find a mentor, please. And Topcoder has a way to give you mentors. Fortunately, one of the first mentors, and this was my first mentor, was the forums. I used to go to the forums a lot, ask questions, and people would reply to me. They say, I had a problem, like I don't know how to draw a circle, and then they came, hey, but use this tool and this tool. Someone came, replied, and I learned. This was my mentor for so many years, and still is. When there are things that I don't know, maybe I could go to the forums and ask. Especially if you are in the data science, oh my God, you go there. This is like a school, a university, a career. You can make a career out of the data science forums in Topcoder. So if you're there, you will see that information is quite valuable in there. Our second mentor is Thrive. This is a platform created by Topcoder as well, where it's a very technical side of articles on many topics, on development, on tutorials about how to get better at React, Angular, Kotlin, you name it, design. I have written technical articles in there. If you're there to waste your time, you go there and check it out to learn about this. And most of them are about psychology of design, so maybe it can be useful. And yeah, so Thrive, go try it. It's a good mentor. Another mentor, and this is one so useful, is to compare the results of what you're doing. You're doing, let's say you're a developer, you're coding a backend application, and then in Topcoder, when you finish a challenge, a competition, you have the opportunity to review the code of your partner or your competitors, and then you see how they did it, and then maybe you can learn from them and how to improve your own work based on the things that they did better than you. And you just need to open up the scorecards, open up the submissions, and check them out. If you're a designer, you can also compare what you did, because you are normally solving the same problem, right? Let's say you have to design an application to sell shoes. So say I'm a maestro. I have an approach. I think in a way, and I'm gonna place certain elements in certain orders that I think work best for the user. But then it turns out that my friend or my competitor, Yoki, he had a way simpler idea as me, and I couldn't see it. And then I could see how I can use his knowledge into my ideas and see why his submission won in first place and why mine got second. But to be honest, normally it was, I don't want to brag, but normally it was the other way around when we competed together. I was first, he was second. And yeah, the thing is, you can compare the submissions, and you can get find a mentorship in there. And the last one, a simple dude, ask someone else. I know people normally say they're busy or something, or they might find it annoying. But what's the worst thing that you can tell? Hey Tom, teach me how to design an application. Or hey Nightwolf, I want to be a better iOS coder. Can you please help me out? The worst thing what would they say? No. Okay, no, it's a 2 letters word, right? And like it's not the end of the word. You move on, or I don't know, find another person who can pass the time and the availability to help you out. Or it's not that it has to be your mentor. Maybe something specific. And that's it. I mean, don't be afraid of ask people for help. And I'm quite sure when you get there and you win your first competition, you're gonna be like Nithia's World. She's a protagonist of our documentary. You can find in our YouTube channel. She's a very sweet person. This is something real that she said that when she's the only person who knows about Topcoder where she lives. So she says that she won't share Topcoder with anyone. And this is what could happen if you get to start when you start winning competitions in Topcoder. She's so lovely. I really love that one. And actually, this is a meme that I stole from Diablo's meme challenge competition, and that you can find. You can find them in a blog post. There are dozens of memes that are so funny. I think I can share the link with you later, somewhere here. Okay. All right, let's move on to our next principle. I call this one I want to talk about optimal selection. This is a fancy name that I chose to sound like brainy, but no, it's like something very simple. It's basically like a translation of natural selection theory to challenges. So we have Ravi Jun. He says that for the last 2 years, he has been picking or working in challenges, competitions that he's interested, and not just any challenge. This helps him to focus better, and more importantly, to have fun while he competes. And this is something that, for me, it represents the principles that I'm trying to share here. Value the learning process, value the experience, and also he's optimizing his time investment by selecting the projects that he thinks he has more chances to win, or he feels more attracted by his preferences, not just because it's just another challenge. But this is Ravi Jun, he says this. But then he comes and he does this. Do you think that makes sense? No, I'm just lying. He doesn't do this. But yeah, but normally we tend to do this. Like, okay, I say today I'm gonna focus in one challenge that, okay, this is about, this challenge is about, I don't know, wearable gadgets. I'm gonna design an application for the watch. I like watch. I have one and I know how it works. So next challenge about watch, I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna win it. So you have the attitude. But then you see a huge list of 10 other challenges. They might not be so interesting to you. Like, I don't know, like something that to you might be, let's say, boring. If it's boring and you do it, believe me that the performance it's not gonna be quite good as if you do something that you have a natural inclination for it, something that you really like. So the optimal selection principle is basically matching your strongest skills, things that you know a lot, you have a lot of background of, and try to select challenges that are more in line with the things that you like, the things that you think that you want to profit more time on if you invest time in there. Instead of just jumping to any challenge that goes in front of you, even if it's boring. And when it's boring, it's really bad, because when it's boring, you're not gonna enjoy it so much. And if you don't enjoy it, and then if something happens, you have this illusion of loss. If this happens, you're gonna suffer really. I mean, the impact is gonna be deeper or bigger. I don't know how I would say it. Yeah, and yeah. So basically, this is what embodies the selection of the optimal selection principle. And the last one. Oh, finally, God, we got to the end of this. This is so long. I know this is what you might be saying. And this comes from Seneca. It's my favorite, by large, my favorite Stoic philosopher. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And this has to do with my time principle. It's just the fact to have awareness that the time that you're giving here on this planet is limited, and you have to see it in a way as let's say this is the way I see it, to be honest. I mean, personal experience. This is like the personal insight. Is that, let's imagine that I borrow you something. I give you, I don't know, a book or a pencil. I give you this pencil. Like, hey, you You grab this pencil. This pencil is made of gold, and it's mine, and I'm borrowing it to you. So you take it. I say, oh, thank you, Luis, but it's borrowed, right? So let's say if someone else comes and say, hey, can you please give me your pencil? And then you say, no, I can't. I can't give it to you because it's not mine. It doesn't belong to me. So my point is, try to see your life and your time as if it's borrowed, as if it's not yours. Because when you start to see life with this perspective, believe me that you won't allow anyone to steal one little bit of second of your life, of your time. And normally you will be focused on making a good profit out of it as long as you have to live. But I don't want to make this so deep about philosophy, so I'm going to try to extrapolate this to competition. How do we apply this awareness of time to competition? And I think I had shown you already how I did it with the hack, how I was very aware of the time I was investing in any type of activities for challenges, for projects, for managing projects. So how can you, thing is that with this awareness now, how can you apply it to challenges? Either if you're a designer or a coder or a data scientist, how can you be aware of how to invest the time? So for me, my advice, now that you're aware, we are all aware that you cannot give this pencil to anyone because it doesn't belong to you. So how are you going to invest the time during your competition? So my invitation is to go through your workflow and see how much time do you invest in reading the spec, how much time do you invest in doing research, how much time do you invest in doing sketches, or you see your workflow. Everyone has his own workflow. And then try to see why you're investing so much time if the number is so high. And if you can find a way to reduce it. Either by outsourcing it, or by outsourcing, I mean by creating tools, or I don't know, you will find your ways to outsource your, like, these weaknesses, things that wouldn't actually require such a brainy amount of energy from your brain to repeat. And yeah, so basically do this scrutiny over your workflow, either your competitor or other developer, and then you'll be applying the time awareness principle. And so normally, I mean, the examples that I have given, they manifest normally in the form of tools. And I'm not the only one who has created tools for this. And to give you an example, I'm gonna borrow some, not time, but I'm gonna borrow some of the knowledge from our members, Trivia 79. His name is Adam, by the way. He's from Philippines. He's an hybrid. He participates in development challenges, in design challenges. I asked him about tools, I mean, how he improves his performance. And he says he has a placeholder for design projects with some files and some placeholder elements that save him time. So this is what he does. He created some tools to help him out, as well as Nightwolf. Nightwolf he's a top iOS developer. And during an interview, he told me that he also developed some tools to get some to speed up his workflow about 30 to 60%. And there's also Thomas, whom I borrowed a tool for running payments, and he created it to speed up his workflow. So I use it as well. Thank you, Thomas, for that, for saving me some time. And yeah, so normally they manifest in the forms of tools, or normally just eliminating things that are not totally necessary in your workflow. So this is how I would apply the time awareness principle in Topcoder projects. Life is some other deal. So yeah, my last question for you, it would be a reflective questions about how can you hack Topcoder now that you know that there are things, principles that you can use, now that you know them, now that you know time awareness, now that you know the value of learning, now that you know how to embrace failure in case it comes. It will come, it may come, it may not, but It's important to be aware. And the mentorship, how can you now hack Topcoder in a way to make your life better? How can you use it to your benefit? And this is a task that I leave open for you to reflect on, and then you can maybe contact me if you have some thoughts. If you need some help, and I can help, I think I hope so. I will be there for you, for sure. Okay. Oh, well, so before I go, this was the last segment, but before I go, I have to talk about something. Wait. Okay. Yeah, before to wrap this up, this fantastic long-lasting webinar. Before I go, I'm gonna make this personal. This personal, and I want to share with you the main reason why I love this community so much. And this is something that is related to people. And it's not actually, I mean, it has to do, of course, with work, but it has to do with the feeling of belongingness that you can get because you meet people that are like-minded, that feel the same passion that you feel for solving problems, either design problems, development problems, or you name them, in this with such an enthusiasm that is contagious. I mean, you meet these kind of people and the energies they flow somehow. You create these wonderful connections, and this is something that I guess you can see this picture is in Indonesia. Of the travel that I made using the principles that I use for my life with two special persons. And this is why I say this so much, because you can get connections. First we have here, Mr. Ravi Jun. He's from India. Yeah, he's a designer. Actually, his real career is, I mean, not real, but what he studied formally in the university was a mechanical, oh my God, please forgive me, Ravi, for this, but I always forget the rest of the sentence. It's mechanical, something has to do with trains. He can create a train, fix it, but he dedicates his time to do UX design. And he has been TCO finalist so many times, and I'm so proud to say that he is my friend, like a true friend. And I found him in this community of Topcoder. My next travel partner during this travel of Asia, I was Vicky. Vicky, she's a fantastic human being. She taught me so much about how to be empathic, more empathic with people. She has a fantastic daughter, Jojo. We have had the chance to travel all together. She's from Hungary. She's an excellent lateral thinker, UX designer, co-pilot, MVP. I mean, the amount of achievements she has in the community in just 2 years, I don't have enough fingers to count them. And she's also my friend. I consider her a true friend of my life. And she was also with me before my tears start dropping. I'm gonna move on to the next slide. So yeah, so during this travel of Asia, we went to India, Philippines, Indonesia. We met so many people from so many places, from the community. We did such amazing amount of things. We went to, I remember this picture is from the India regionals. It's the most decent picture that we have. And I'm quite sure my friends are so scared because they know I like to share embarrassing pictures, and I have some prepared, I think, if I remember correctly. And the thing is that Topcoder, they give me this connection with humans that are like-minded. They share the same passion that I share. There's this energy that flows and helps us connect in a way that I haven't found in any other community. And I think I already mentioned this as one of my top reasons why I belong to this community and why I don't think I might ever leave it in some reason. And yeah, it's just connection. This is why I say they always want to make it personal, because this is my reason. This is my reason of being here with you, is because I want to transfer all this knowledge that I have gathered for 13 years plus the knowledge of people who is actively high performers in the community, and give it to you somehow. And also to share also this passion. I don't know if you feel the same, but it's just the way I feel about the community, how to connect with people that you never imagined they could exist, to be so passionate about the things that you do. And then you all go together and do all these travels all over the world, and they extend, and it wasn't just Asia, and these travels, they were to so many places. And this is what gave birth to something called, right here in this picture, he's wearing a t-shirt that represents what I'm going to say. This is normally these connections of human beings in Topcoder. This is the manifestation of connection, and it's Topcoder Nation. Just, you can see it on Facebook. It's a group sub-community that we formed, basically to share stories, to help members, people who come new to the community, to how to get better, or if I have a problem, or if I just want to share how I got here, or just want to see how other people is doing, how can we interact to help our lives to be better. This was the product of these trips. And today, actually tomorrow, but it's the anniversary of this group for 1 year. And we ran a challenge competition to create a graphic that embodies the spirit of the Topcoder Nation, which could be what I have already said. And we had some quite interesting submissions, and I have them here. Our co-pilot was Arianto. Thank you very much if you're here listening or watching, for the help. And yeah, our fifth place was this Fashri. I really like this one because he really tried to put together kind of the decorations, Arab decorations of the Asian culture. Our fourth place was Antiwarna. I'm so sorry for mispronouncing your names, guys. Please kill me now. Our third place was Endondo, Arnando. It was quite cool. Our second place was a kind of a quote that we really loved it, because it's kind of a way of envisioning how the future is going to be, and the future is kind of now. And our first place, it was a victory for Aviv. Very nice graphic. We're going to start promoting this one and spreading it all over, with never-ending adventure and unforgotten memories. Thank you very much, guys. I hope that you liked the webinar, and I'd like to see you soon if there's another opportunity.